In this video, we are going to talk about multidimensional arrays in C. Basically, we are going to talk about two-dimensional arrays in C. Before diving into the two-dimensional arrays, first we will review the concepts of arrays in C. Array is a structured data type which allows us to store multiple variables with a single name. An array can contain multiple values with the same data type. So we called as array will allow us to store homogeneous values with the common name. We use subscript or the a number which is specified within the square brackets to refer to each individual location in an array. Usually, to traverse through the arrays, we are going to use for loops or any kind of a loop structure. So now let's go to the multidimensional arrays. Multidimensional arrays, it's an extension of single dimension arrays. In multiple dimension arrays, number of dimensions equal to number of indexes that you're going to refer to access the particular location. Simplest version of the multi-dimensional arrays are two-dimensional arrays. In two-dimensional arrays, first dimension is corresponding to the row number and the second dimension is corresponding to the column. So that means two-dimensional array is a kind of a table or it's kind of a grid. Or in your A level you have done a matrices, right? So it's kind of a matrix. So in order to access the individual location in a 2D array, you have to specify two indices or the two indexes. So first one, you need to specify which row you planning to access. The second index indicates which column you need to access. Right? So let's talk about the 2D arrays. Here is an example of a table which can be represented as a two-dimensional array in C. The first dimension represents the student ID, right? Second dimension represents the marks for different subjects, right? To store this kind of data, especially not about the student number, if you want to store the subject marks for each three subjects that I have listed here, so you can use the two-dimensional arrays. So let's look at how we can declare two-dimensional arrays. If you remember the one-dimensional array, when we are declaring the one-dimensional array, we need to give the identifier. Then we need within the square bracket, we need to specify the how many elements we want to keep in that array. Similarly, we can extend that declaration into two-dimensional arrays. So we can use this generic form to declare a two-dimensional array. First, we need to specify the data type. Then we need to give the identifier for our two-dimensional array. Then we need to give how many rows we are planning to keep in this table or this two-dimensional array. The next argument is the how many columns that we are planning to store in this two-dimensional array or the table, right? So once you specify those two dimension sizes, then you can successfully declare a two-dimensional array. So here's the example declaration for two-dimensional arrays. The first one indicates marks. It's a two-dimensional array which can store 4 rows and 3 columns. So altogether you will have 12 different locations to store 12 different marks. The second line declares a matrix called matrix num, which can store 20 rows and each row has 25 columns. Right? So that means altogether you can store 500 different floating point values in the matrix num two-dimensional arrays. So let's look at few examples related to declaration and use in these two-dimensional arrays. We have declared and initialized our one-dimensional arrays. So if you remember, so this is how you're going to declare a one-dimensional array. You need to specify an identifier. Then within the square bracket, you have to specify how many elements that you are planning to store in this one-dimensional array. So this is the easiest way that you can initialize your one-dimensional arrays to be 0. So when we execute this statement in our computer, what our computer will do, it will assign 0 for all the location, all the 10 different location in my in array. So if I want to output the content of my in array, so I can use a for loop. So which is starting, my indexes will starting from 0 and it will go all the way up to 9. J will go all the way up to 9. So I will print all the elements in my array. So it should give all the elements to be 0 in this example. Let's compile this program and execute that program. So I'm going to compile. Then I'm going to execute my program. So now you can see in here, I have 10 different elements. My indexes will start from 0 to all the way up to number of elements minus 1, that is 9. And all the values I have assigned to be 0. So that is what I have done in my line 13 in my program. So I hope now you have a better clear picture about the one-dimensional array. So let's move on to our next example, which basically talks about the two-dimensional arrays. So when we are declaring the two-dimensional arrays, the first thing that we need to do, we need to give a name for two-dimensional array. Then we need to specify how many rows that we're going to keep in our two-dimensional arrays. Then we need to specify how many columns that we need to specify. So this is a one way how you can initialize your 2D array. So you can give values for each rows by separating those values with the curly braces. So this will indicate, okay, this is my first row, 2 values, because I have 2 columns in here. I need to specify 2 values for my first row. Similarly, this is my second row, 2 values. This is my third row, 2 values. This is my fourth row, 2 values. This is my fifth row, 2 values. So that is how I have stored those values at the declaration. So this statement allows us to declare and initialize our values or our array with the values that we want. So we can either provide values by separating values for each row in our 2D array. So let's look at this. Let's execute this program and let's see the output. So I'm going to compile this program. And now you can see my first row, that is indicates the 0 for each first index, that is my first row containing 0, 0. My second row, that is indicating the first index to be 1, right? First row containing 1, 2. So that is what we have stored in our declaration statement. My third row containing 2 and 4. That is what we have stored, right? My fourth row containing 3 and 6. Likewise, my fifth row containing 4 and 8. So that is how you can declare and initialize your 2-dimensional arrays with each row values, right? So there are multiple ways how you can initialize and declare arrays. So we will go each of these in later examples. The next important thing that you need to keep in mind, in order to traverse through or in order to access the elements of a 2D array, so you have to use nested loops. So first loop will indicate, or first loop will access the row number. So which row you want to access, right? So that is why row will go to 0 all the way up to 5, I less than 5, so that will go to 4. Then in order to access the column ID, we have to have another loop inside that our outer for loop. That will access the individual in that individual column in that particular row that we have previously looped through our outer loop. So that is how we can traverse through the two-dimensional arrays. Actually, in order to traverse through the two-dimensional, we need to have two for loops or two while loops, right? So that is how we can access 2D arrays. Alright, so I hope everyone is clear with this example. So let's move on to our next example. So next example, we have little bit variation in the initialization. So we have a array with 5 rows and 3 columns. But in here, I have specified for each row, I have specified only 2 values. But actually, this array should have 3 values for each row, right? So I need to specify another value, right? But in array declaration in C, array initialization at C, in the declaration statement, we don't have to provide all the elements at the initialization. So if you just provide the part of the elements for your float or integer array, so what it will do, C will fill rest of the elements automatically for 0, right? So now if you consider about this two-dimensional array, I have 5 rows and 3 columns. But in my first row, I have specified only 2 zeros. So what C will do, C will automatically put 0 to my third column. Similarly, for the second row, I have specified only 1 and 2. So C will automatically put 0 to my third column. So that is how it will initialize this array. And in order to traverse through the array, I'm going to use the nested for loop to access the each row. First, outer for loop will access the each row. It will change the row number, that is I in here, and this inner for loop will change the column value, right? So let's see the output of this one. You can see in my first row, I have 3 elements, but I have only provided 2 elements, that is 0, 0, right? But third element, C automatically puts to 0. So if you are declaring and initializing your float and or integer array, and if you provided less number of elements than the array, then it will fill the rest of the elements to be zeros. That is what we have seen in our first declaration and initialization statement, even for the one dimension arrays. If you consider about your second row, that is the index starting from 1, you can see it has 1 and 2 for first 2 columns. Third column value automatically put to be 0. Similar thing can be observed in your third row also. 2 and 4 are the first 2 column values in my third row, and the last column value is 0, that is the automatically filled by our C program, right? So that is how you can declare and initialize multidimensional arrays in C. Alright, so let's see another variation of this declaration and initialization in C. So now we know if you do not provide enough information at the declaration and initialization statement, if you do not provide enough information, then it will fill your rest of the values with the 0. So then you can use this command or this initialization to fill your two-dimension array all with zeros, right? Why? Because I have specified only in my two-dimensional array, I have 15 elements, but I have specified only the first element. So then C will automatically fill rest of the 14 elements to be 0. So that is automatically done by the C compiler, right? This is this is the way how you can initialize two-dimensional arrays all the values to be 0, right? So let's see this program output. You can see all the elements in my A array. I have 15 elements. All the elements I have assigned it to 0 because of this initialization state, right? So that is how you can initialize your two-dimensional arrays to be 0, right? I hope everyone clear with this example. So let's move on to our next example. So this is another variation of declaration and initialization statement in two-dimensional arrays. You can see here I have provided 16 elements, 1 to 16, right? If you're providing all the elements in your initialization and declaration statement, then only you can skip. If you want, you can skip how many rows that you're going to have in your two-dimensional array. But you must specify your second dimension because computer doesn't know how many columns. But if you specify how many columns you want, then it will divide whatever the values that you provided at the initialization into 4 columns. Then if you have more values, then it will go to your next row. Likewise, it will fill up your arrays until it is filling all the provided values in your initialization state. So in here, I have I have skipped the first dimension specification. Instead of that, what I have given all the values that I am planning to store in this array. So what it will do, C will know, okay, I need to have 4 columns. So then it will take the first 4 values and it will fill up the first row because it need to have 4 columns. Then it will take the rest of the 4 values and it will fill up the next row. Then now my array has 2 rows. Then it will take next 4 elements and it will fill up the third row. Then it has remaining 4 rows, 4 elements. Then it will take those 4 elements and fill up your fourth row. So if you execute this statement, basically what it happens, it will create a two-dimensional array with 4 rows and 4 columns. So the important thing here, if you want, you can skip your first dimension at the declaration statement if you are providing all the elements in your initialization state. Now we can go through our familiar nested for loop and see the output of our program. So let me compile this program. So now you can see I have 4 rows. First row containing 1 to 4 values. Second row containing 5 to 8 values. Third row containing 9 to 13 values. 9 to 12 values, sorry. Fourth row containing 13 to 16 values. So it is my 16 element right now. It is divided into 4 rows and 4 columns. The important thing that you can keep in mind, if you want, you can skip your first dimension, but only if you are providing all the elements in your initialization system. But there's no way you can skip the second dimension. Second dimension need to be there. Otherwise, if you skip both the dimensions, computer doesn't know how to divide these elements into columns and rows. But if you specify columns as 4, then it know, okay, each row need to be have 4 elements. So that is how it has divided these 16 elements. And also you can skip only the first dimension. you cannot skip the second dimension. So sometimes people will think, okay, I can, if that's the case, I can give the 4 here instead of giving 4. But then your computer compiler will throws an compilation error saying that you need to specify your second die. Because if you provide your row number only, computer doesn't know how to put these 16 elements into columns, right? If you just specify 4, then am I going to take two values in each row, or am I supposed to get 3 values or 4, like this? But if you specify the second dimension, then computer can understand, okay, I want 4 elements in each row, then I can split those whatever the 16 element that you have provided by putting for each row 4 elements in my 2D array. So that is how you can skip your first dimension in your array declaration. But this is, if you want, you can specify. So this is kind of additional information, right? So if you want, you can specify both the dimension. No harm for your program execution or for your program output, right? I hope you all are clear with this example, and you all know how to initialize or how to declare your two-dimension arrays, and you know how to traverse through your two-dimension array using nested for loops or nested while loops. You need to have 2 loops in order to successfully access elements in two-dimension arrays, right? So now let's move on to, let's think about how we can extend this two-dimension arrays into multi-dimension arrays. So next example will show you the array with 3 dimensions. So you can imagine this one as, this is the row number, right? This is the column number. And if you think about only specified row number and column number, then you will get a table like. But if you specify the third dimension, then you will get a data structure something like a cube, right? So this is an example of multi-dimensional array. Actually, this is an extension version of your two-dimensional array. So basically you have table, two-dimensional array, you have table, then for you have 2 tables in here. So that's what you have third dimension. So that means you have first table and you have another table behind that table. So you have 2 tables. Altogether you have 12 items in this 3D array. So this is we call as 3D array, and this is a 3-dimension array. This is the extension of the 2-dimension array. So you have 2 tables, one table containing 6 element, the next table containing 6 element. So this is a 3-dimension array. So this can look as a cube in your 3D space, right? So if you want, you can extend your these arrays into any dimension you want. But basically, if you go for dimensions above 3, it is hard to visualize how these data are stored in this data structure, right? So this is an example of multi-dimensional array. This is a extension version of the 2D arrays that we have discussed so far. In order to access the elements of these 3D arrays, if you remember, in order to access the element in 2D arrays, we have to use 2 for loops, right? Similarly, in order to access the elements in your 3D array, you have to use 3 for loops to change your I, j, k and indexes, right? So using these 3 for loops, we can access the individual elements in our 3D array, right? So let's see the output of this program. You can see, so this indicates the first table, this indicates the actually not first table, this indicates the first element in your array, and this indicates the first element in your behind table, right? So it's something like this. So it's something like this. You have initially like table with 2 rows and 3 columns, right? Then you have another table like behind you, right? So this 0 0 will indicate this one, 0 0 0 will indicate this value, so that is we have put it here 1, right? Then 0 0, that is this element 1, so this will be the next, that is you can think as this is the cube next element behind that first location in your first table, so that will contain 2. So that is how stored values in this 3D array, right? So in order to access the 3D arrays, you have to use the 3 nested loops or 3 for loops. I hope you all understand the discussion about the 2D arrays and 3D arrays. In this example, I have shown you a 3D array. So this is the extension version of the 2D array. So basically, you can same way you can access the elements and or you can manipulate the relevant elements using for loops. I hope you all are clear with the multidimensional arrays.